After more than 15 years of living abroad in more than 107 different countries, I've come to a few conclusions. I've experienced living, working, and traveling abroad at just every level of lifestyle that you can imagine. From the $50 a night apartments where the Wi Fi barely works and the shower was questionable at best, to the $5,000 a night villas with infinity pools overlooking the beautiful ocean in the Maldives. And then somewhere in between, I realized something that completely changed how I think about money, lifestyle, and what it actually means to live like a king abroad. So after pondering this, I've come to one conclusion is you don't need to be super wealthy to live like a king. You just need to choose the right country. And in this video today, I'm going to share the 5 best countries to live abroad and to live like a king for a fraction of the price. Again, changing your country can be the difference from retiring 10, 15, even 20 years earlier, just because you're able to increase your lifestyle at a fraction of the cost, save more, invest more, and just live a better version that you've always dreamed. And so that's something that I've been doing, and it's what essentially people call geo arbitrage. And it's one of the reasons where a lot of countries are trying to attract business owners, remote workers who are working in another country but spending in their local currency. This creates additional income and money flowing through their economy without the worry of somebody stealing a local person's job. It's a win-win situation. It's the same reason that so many digital nomad and remote work visas are popping up all around the world. They want the high-earning individuals to come and make sure that they don't take local jobs away from people. And I know what you're thinking inside. I went to Italy last summer. I spent a ton of money in Rome. My hotel was more than $700 a night for something decent. Again, the average person living abroad is making less than $2,000 per month in Europe, meaning their average income is $2,000 a month, and the worldwide average income is way lower than that. So you're thinking like a tourist when you should be thinking of like a local who actually lives abroad. Think about it. When you vacation somewhere for 2 weeks, you're hitting all the tourist spots, you're eating at restaurants near the main attractions, you're booking last minute accommodations, you're doing everything the most expensive way possible because you're on vacation mode. But here's what most people don't realize. The locals in these countries aren't paying anywhere close to those prices. So your 2-week vacation is not a realistic scenario of somebody who's living on a yearly sort of structure or even a monthly structure for that. Now in this video, I'm not only going to share the best countries to live like a king abroad, I'm also going to share some of the best cities because there are a lot of popular cities that if you stay in that country, go to a different city that's a few hours away, you're literally going to cut your costs in half or even more. And before we dig in, if this is your first time seeing me, make sure to hit the subscribe button as I'm making videos teaching people how to earn from anywhere. Now, before we dig in, here's the 4 criteria that I use to evaluate all these countries. And again, I've spent at least 6 to 12 months in each one of these countries living longer term, meaning I didn't just show up there for a weekend. I didn't show up there for a month. It was a long-term experience where I lived at least 6 to 12 months. And in a lot of cases, like I am here now in Thailand, I've spent over 2 years here and I've lived in 5 or 6 different cities. So here's the things to consider. Number 1 is the cost versus luxury ratio. What is the actual value of how much you spend to what level you get? What kind of lifestyle can you afford at a reasonable budget? Number 2 is the infrastructure. Is the Wi-Fi good? Is it easy to get stuff set up? Do things just generally work well? We're not looking for the cheapest. We're looking for the best value where things work well. There's good safety and infrastructure also works well. Number 3 is the lifestyle factor. What's the food like? The weather, the culture? Are there a lot of things to actually do? And then 4 is the long-term livability. Could you see yourself living there for months or years, not just a vacation? There's a lot of great places in the world that I would love to spend 3 to 4 days, but I wouldn't want to spend 3 to 4 years there. And one last note here, this is based on my personal experience. Your experiences might change, and if you had a different experience, leave a comment below. The number 1 on the list where luxury living is still really easy to obtain, but you might need to start searching for a few unique places is Thailand. Thailand's one of the best places in the world to live like a king on a fraction of the price with still having great safety, things to do, and a lot of other luxuries. Now I know what you're thinking, Thailand, that's super obvious, and yeah, it's popular for a reason, but most people still don't understand just how good the value is here. I spent more than 2 years here in Thailand, spread across multiple cities. And I'm telling you, for $1,500 to $3,000 a month, you can really level up your lifestyle that would cost you $10,000 to $20,000 in any major US city. As you can see from my background here, I wake up to this beautiful sea view. I have an infinity pool, and I got a really good lifestyle here for a fraction of the price. I live in Koh Samui, Thailand, but there's a lot of other more affordable options if you want to be in other parts of Thailand. Koh Samui is one of the more expensive areas or islands to live on, so if you want to go a little bit more off the beaten path, you're likely going to find some better values. Now let's start off with one of the best value cities in Thailand, which is Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is pretty famous for being the cheap place to live, and for a reason. It's beautiful, has a lot of great mountains, and most importantly, it probably has one of the biggest expat communities of anywhere in Thailand, and there's more of a local scene, meaning Bangkok might have more expats by numbers, but Chiang Mai has more people that are committed to making a community there. The community is just way more tight-knit, and there's literally something for everyone, and there's someone for everyone at each sort of stage and level that you're looking for. Now, one of the downsides about Chiang Mai is there's no beach, there's no ocean, and again, it's a little bit far from Bangkok, but here's something in the middle, and it's called Hua Hin. Hua Hin is one of the most underrated spots in Thailand. It's essentially a little beach town that's only a few hours south of Bangkok. They're actually working on a high-speed rail, which would get you there in, I think, around 1.5 hours. It's way less touristy than Phuket or even Koh Samui, and you're going to get that beautiful coastal lifestyle for a lot lower price. Still the great Thai food, good golf courses, luxury condos and villas. And again, it's a really good option if you want to be outside and a little bit off the beaten path. Koh Samui is going to be the more luxury level, and something if you want to live a little bit longer term. It's about half the prices of what Phuket is, and Phuket has been one of these places where it's just really skyrocketed. We used to rent a villa there every year for about a month, and the villa prices, the same exact villa for the same dates, just 1 year became 3 times more expensive. Now, that's been pretty widespread across all of Phuket, and it essentially got me to discover and start researching life in Koh Samui. Now, Koh Samui is an island, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive than the mainland, but we're still talking a pretty great lifestyle. And again, in Thailand, I think if you're looking to pay a little bit more, it's still one of the best quality of life for the price. If you want a nice beach, international airport, the good Thai food, and enough stuff to do to really keep you busy, it's really going to be hard to beat Koh Samui. In general, Thailand, things work. Internet's great. It's one of the safest countries in the world. There's just so much to do here. There's a really delicious food. There's a great expat crowd in just about every major city, and they offer a really good long-term option. I'm on the 5-year DTV visa. It costs less than $500 to get this visa. We were able to do it all online, but it's fairly simple to get through the process, and you can get approved pretty quickly.
If you guys like that part, you're gonna love this. I'm giving away my best-selling book for absolutely free, and here's how you can get the audiobook in just a few seconds. Inside this book is the same techniques I've used to work abroad in paradise in more than 100 different countries. And the best part, this strategy hasn't just worked for me, it's helped hundreds of thousands of people earn more, work less, and travel the world. I'll leave a QR code here where you can get the audiobook for free with a free 30-day Audible subscription.
Coming in at number 2 is the Czech Republic. Now, I've spent more than 2 years living in Prague and in the Czech Republic. From 2011, I've been going back there basically every other year, and so I have a really good sense of the prices, how things have changed over the past 10 years or so, and it's given me really good insight that, hey, Europe is still a really good option. You just can't live like a tourist in these areas. If you're checking prices and rates on Airbnb or checking things like Booking.com or even VRBO, you're not paying the local prices. The yearly prices and the good rates are coming from Facebook groups and local realtors. So if you've been to Prague and you are in the old town, yeah, it's going to be expensive. And if you're making around $2,000 a month, it's likely also going to be pretty expensive to live there. But if you're making 10, 20, or even 100 times that a month, it's going to be a great place to settle down. The Czech Republic, and specifically Prague, gives you that classic Western European feel, cobblestone streets, world-class architecture, incredible history, without the Western European price tags. In my opinion, Prague and the Czech Republic is still a really great value destination. Is it the cheapest place in the world? No, not at all. It's not even close. But if you're considering all these other factors for good value, for high quality, quality, it's still one of the best places in the world. After traveling to more than 107 countries, Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever been to. And I'm a photographer. I lived there for years at a time, and every single day I discovered something new that was absolutely beautiful. And I'm not just talking about in the city center. If you stretch yourself out of the old town, every single street has something beautiful to add, and it's just one of these places where it's one of the most walkable cities, and there's just so much to actually do and things that are actually going on in Prague. Now, if you want a little bit more value, you can likely check out Prague's second city, which is Brno, the second largest city in the Czech Republic. It's about 2 hours away from Prague, has a university, fewer tourists, and the cost of living is a lot lower. You get that European lifestyle without any of the tourist inflation. You're still well connected to Prague and airports and everything. It's still going to feel a lot smaller, but it's still a really great city. If you want to set up a hub in a city in the Czech Republic, it's something that's really worth considering. Number 3 is Spain. Spain is all about lifestyle arbitrage. You get the Mediterranean climate, incredible food, super walkable cities, and some beautiful beaches, but without the price tag of Barcelona and Madrid. Most people go to these two cities for a few weeks and just think that all of Spain is actually expensive, but it couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of other beautiful cities, and one of them is Valencia. This would be a top pick for me to live in Spain. It's Spain's third largest city. It's right on the Mediterranean coast. You get beaches, a modern city center, and some of the best paella in the world, and you get a cost of living that's like literally half of what you would find in Barcelona or Madrid. For $2,000 to $3,000 a month, you're living very well in Valencia. A nice apartment on the outskirts of the city, eating well multiple times a week, enjoying the beach, going to cultural events. It's the perfect balance if you want to be close to the ocean. If you want something that's a little bit smaller and a little bit cheaper and is actually great value, then you're going to want to consider Alicante. Alicante is another coastal gem. It's smaller than Valencia, a bit more laid back and even cheaper, but you get all those Spanish quintessentials that you want with a beach town. Tapas, palm trees, blue water, and for $1,000 to $2,000 a month, you can really live pretty well. Now, Spain has a lot of other coastal cities like this that are just not too far away from Barcelona, a few hours away, but still give you great access to the country, where every now and then you can go to the big cities, explore and enjoy, but you can live a little bit further away, and you can take advantage of that great value that you would find. Number 4 is Italy, and I know some of you might be surprised by this, but Italy is one of my favorite countries in the world. I've been to more than 30 different countries around Italy, and I love going back. I think it's one of the best value destinations to literally live like a king for a fraction of the price. But I'm not talking about Rome. I'm not talking about Milan. I'm talking about some other smaller cities that are still going to be great value. And yes, Florence, Rome, Venice, Milan are absolutely beautiful, and everyone should see them in their life for at least 3 to 7 days at a time. Those places are very pricey. Even as locals, even if you're living on a monthly rate, you're still going to pay a little bit more. But that's the great thing about Italy, is there's dozens of other incredible cities that tourists barely touch, and the cost of living is way lower. For example, I studied abroad in Bergamo, and I've lived there for a while, and it's about an hour away from Milan, and you can even get there in about 45 minutes. And it's absolutely stunning. There's a really beautiful old town, but it's more structured for a city life where you have a nice airport where you can travel internationally. You have all the perks of living in a nice Italian city without any of those really high costs. So it's one of the best options out there, I think, and a lot of people just don't go there because they stick to the main cities. Another good option is going to be Bologna. This is the food capital of Italy, the birthplace of bolognese, tortellini, mortadella. The university is one of the oldest in the world. The architecture is absolutely gorgeous, and because it's not one of the main tourist circuits, it's actually pretty livable. You're not going to be dodging crowds of tourists every single time you leave your apartment, and depending on where you live in the city, you can still find some really good value. Next up is going to be Turin. Turin is an elegant, sophisticated, and totally overlooked by most travelers. It's got wide boulevards, Baroque architecture, incredible cafes, and it's surrounded by mountains. The cost of living is way lower than Rome or Florence, but the quality of life is just as high. The thing about Italy is you have to commit to living like a local. Shop at the markets, cook at home most of the time, and then you're eating out on the weekends and eating at the places where locals go and eat. Likely there's not going to be English menus there. You might need to bring your translator, and then you'll know you're in a place where locals actually eat. Now, the thing about living in Italy is it is great. There is a lot of bureaucracy that comes to it, but there is some learning curve to living in any place, and especially in Europe. There's going to be more paperwork. It's going to be a lot different, but that's the perk of living abroad. You get to understand what it's like to live another life. Italy's going to be a lot more laid back than other places around the world. So you need to figure out what's actually going to work for the life and chapter that you're looking for. Last but not least is Vietnam. And Vietnam is another great place that has a lot to offer. For a fraction of the price, you can really live like a king. Now, I know a lot of people are probably thinking that they went to Saigon and it was a little bit more expensive than they thought, but Vietnam is one of the fastest growing luxury hacks in Asia in general. And the infrastructure is improving at a very fast pace. You're seeing a lot of luxury high rises, a lot of great penthouses and villas pop up, and the food scene is pretty world class. Now, the two places that I recommend people checking out in Vietnam is going to be Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon. Da Nang is a sweet spot. It's a beach city, it's modern, and between Da Nang and Hoi An, you can find some really great places that are not that expensive, and you're going to have the best of both worlds. You grab on a scooter, and you can be in either one of the cities within 20 to 30 minutes. Now, with Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon, if you're living in the center, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but if you go a little bit outside of the city, you can still find some pretty good deals. It's not going to be anything crazy, but you can still have a really good lifestyle for $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Now, these are the two main cities that I would consider if you want to live in Vietnam. There's a lot of other benefits to Vietnam, and they seem to be becoming a lot more tourist friendly and a lot more friendly to expats wanting to live there longer term. Now, after considering safety, cost of living, things to do, and just places that I generally enjoy, I hope you enjoyed this list. I'm going to leave a few other places up here, like the worst places to live in the world, and a few other listicles that I created about the best places to live. And if you're interested in learning more, I'll leave a few links below in the description to check out. And again, I'll see you in the next video.